Hey everyone, this is Six Path Weeb. Welcome back to the channel where we reimagine destinies and rewrite legends. Today's fanfic explores a darker timeline. What if Naruko turned dark with Malevolent Shrine? Part 2. In this alternate universe, the line between hero and villain shatters. What happens when Naruko abandons the path of light and awakens a power inspired by Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine from Jujutsu Kaisen? A cursed domain. A broken will. A world forced to face a version of Naruko no one was prepared for. If you enjoy deep lore twists, darker character arcs, and high-stakes alternate timelines inspired by Naruto, you're in the right place. Disclaimer. The content on this channel is for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credits belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now sit back, and let's dive into a world where the sun never rose for Naruko. Only the shrine did. In a bright village nestled between green hills and sparkling rivers lived a spirited young ninja named Naruko. She wore her leaf village headband proudly, its metal plate shining like a promise of all she hoped to become. Naruko had golden hair that danced in the breeze and warm blue eyes that sparkled with determination. More than anything, she dreamed of becoming a leader who would protect her village with kindness and courage. One afternoon, Naruko was called to the office of the third Hokage, the wise and gentle leader of the Hidden Leaf Village. The Hokage, known as Hiruzen Sarutobi, had always watched over Naruko with patient understanding. Though she was sometimes loud and mischievous, he knew her heart was bright. As Naruko entered the office, she noticed something unusual. A girl about her age was sitting in one of the chairs, looking both amazed and confused. The girl had chin-length brown hair that framed her face and soft brown eyes filled with wonder. Two small purple marks rested on her cheeks like painted petals. Naruko tilted her head. "Hi. I'm Naruko. Who are you?" The girl blinked and placed a hand over her heart as if steadying herself. "My name is Rin. I think I came from another time." Naruko's eyes widened, not in fear, but in fascination. "Another time? Like from the past? That's incredible." Hiruzen Sarutobi gently cleared his throat. "It seems that Rin touched a special seal created long ago. Instead of doing what it was meant to do, it brought her here, many years into the future." Rin looked down at her hands. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I just wanted to help my teacher test it." Naruko noticed the worry in Rin's eyes. She remembered what it felt like to feel out of place, like you didn't quite belong. Instead of teasing or doubting her, Naruko scooted her chair closer. "Hey," she said softly, "you're not alone. If you're stuck here, then we'll figure it out together. That's what being part of the village means." Rin looked up in surprise. "You'd help me?" "Of course." Naruko grinned. "I'm going to be the greatest Hokage someday, and a Hokage never leaves anyone behind." The Hokage smiled warmly at Naruko's words. "That is a fine attitude to have." As the afternoon sun poured golden light into the office, Naruko and Rin began talking. Rin described her home from long ago, simpler times, different faces, dreams that felt both near and far. Naruko listened carefully, asking thoughtful questions. She realized that even though they were from different times, their hearts were the same. They both wanted to grow stronger. They both cared deeply about their friends. They both believed in protecting what mattered. Over the next few days, Naruko showed Rin around the village. She introduced her to the training grounds, the bustling market streets, and the quiet park where children played. Some villagers were surprised by Rin's story, but Naruko stood proudly by her side, explaining everything with cheerful confidence. "Rin's our guest," Naruko would say. "And guests deserve kindness." As they trained together, Naruko discovered something new about herself. She had always rushed forward, eager to prove her strength. But helping Rin required patience. It meant listening carefully, thinking before acting, and encouraging someone who felt uncertain. In guiding Rin, Naruko learned how to guide herself. One evening, as the sky turned soft shades of pink and lavender, Rin sat beside Naruko on a hill overlooking the village. "I was so scared when I arrived," Rin admitted. "But now, I feel hopeful." Naruko smiled gently. "It's okay to be scared. I get scared too sometimes. But if we face things together, it doesn't feel so big." Rin nodded. "You're going to be a wonderful Hokage one day." Naruko's cheeks warmed at the compliment. "Thanks. I still have a lot to learn. But I'll keep trying. That's my ninja way." With the Hokage's guidance and the help of the village's brightest seal experts, they began studying the mysterious mark that had brought Rin forward in time. Instead of using it for harm, they worked to understand it safely, turning it into a lesson about responsibility and wisdom. In the end, whether Rin would return to her own time or build a new life in this one remained uncertain. But one thing was clear, Naruko had grown stronger, not just in skill, but in heart. She had learned that true strength wasn't about being the loudest or the fastest. It was about standing beside someone when they felt lost. It was about believing in others as fiercely as you believed in yourself. And as the lights of the Hidden Leaf Village twinkled below, Naruko felt certain of her path. She would keep striving, keep caring, and keep shining brightly, because that was the kind of hero she chose to be. In the bright and bustling Hidden Leaf Village of Konoha, the morning sun poured golden light through the window of a small apartment. Naruko Uzumaki was fast asleep, her blanket twisted around her legs, when a loud knocking rattled her door. Bang! 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 Naruko's eyes flew open. She blinked at the ceiling, her bright whisker-like cheek marks scrunching as she yawned. I'm awake. I'm awake. She called, though she was very much not. She tumbled out of bed, nearly tripping over her own feet, and shuffled to the door. When she pulled it open, she found Sasuke Uchiha standing on her doorstep, arms folded and eyebrows raised. You're late, he said calmly. For what? Naruko asked, rubbing her eyes. Graduation day at the academy, he replied. Unless you've decided to sleep through becoming a ninja. Naruko froze. Graduation. Her heart did a little flip. She had been dreaming of this day for years. Becoming a ninja meant taking her first real step toward her biggest goal, earning the respect of the entire village and proving that she could be someone people believed in. She straightened instantly. Why didn't you say so sooner? I did, Sasuke replied, though his tone was patient rather than annoyed. You just weren't listening. Naruko dashed back inside, and within moments she reappeared fully dressed in her black training outfit, her bright hair tied back neatly. She shut the door with determination sparkling in her eyes. Let's go, she said. And if I miss graduation because of you talking too slowly, I'll never forgive you. Sasuke gave a small smirk. You're the one who overslept. As they walked toward the academy, the village streets buzzed with excitement. Families carried flowers. Students hurried along, whispering nervously. Sasuke glanced sideways at Naruko. You know, we work well together, he said. During training exercises, we think differently, but that's why it works. You come up with creative ideas. I focus on precision. Naruko blinked at him. Compliments were rare from Sasuke. You noticed that? She asked. Of course, he replied. If we're placed on the same team, I think we could become stronger by helping each other improve. Naruko's grin spread wide. So the great Sasuke Uchiha wants to team up with me? I didn't say once, he replied, though his tone softened. I said it would be wise. Naruko laughed. That's good enough for me. They reached the academy doors, and Naruko paused for just a moment. She thought about all the days she had struggled with her lessons, all the times she had felt like she didn't quite belong, and all the evenings she had practiced until the stars came out. I'm not just doing this to prove myself, she said quietly. I want to protect people. Even the ones who don't understand me yet. Sasuke nodded once. That's a strong goal. Inside the classroom, Iruka-sensei greeted them with a warm smile, though he tapped the clock gently. You two are cutting it close. Sorry, Naruko said, bowing quickly. I won't be late to saving the world someday, I promise. Iruka chuckled and handed them their tests. Just focus on today first. Naruko sat down and looked at the paper. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, she felt ready. Every challenge she had faced had led to this moment. Later that afternoon, after the tests were complete, students gathered outside for lunch. Naruko walked past the grassy field, laughing at something Sasuke had said, when she noticed a new girl sitting alone. The girl was quietly pulling at blades of grass, her lunch untouched. Naruko slowed down. Before she could approach, another student named Noru sat beside the new girl. You're staring at Sasuke? Noru teased gently. The new girl shook her head. Actually, I was looking at Naruko. Who is she? Noru hesitated. She's different. She keeps to herself sometimes. But she's strong. And she works harder than anyone. Naruko, hearing her name, felt a strange flutter in her chest. She had expected criticism. Instead, she heard something kinder. The new girl stood up and walked over. Hi, she said softly. I'm Rin. I'm new here. Naruko blinked, surprised. Naruko. Future legendary ninja, she added with a grin. Rin smiled. I was watching you earlier. You seem confident. Naruko rubbed the back of her head. I wasn't always. But I decided that even if I fall, I'll stand back up. That's my ninja way. Rin's eyes brightened. I'd like to learn that. Then sit with us, Naruko said instantly, waving her over. Everyone deserves a place at the table. Sasuke gave Naruko a sideways look but shifted slightly to make room. As the three of them sat together under the warm afternoon sun, something small but important began to grow, a seed of friendship. Naruko didn't know what the future would hold. She didn't know which team she would be placed on or what challenges lay ahead. But she knew one thing for certain. She didn't have to walk her path alone. And for the first time, she felt that graduation wasn't just about becoming stronger. It was about becoming someone who could lift others up too. With a bright smile and a hopeful heart, Naruko looked toward the academy building. Her journey was only just beginning, and she was ready to face it, with courage, kindness, and friends by her side. Naruko sat in the back of the classroom with her chin resting on her folded arms. Sunlight streamed through the windows of the Ninja Academy in the Hidden Leaf Village, warming the wooden desks and making the dust in the air sparkle like tiny stars. Around her, classmates whispered excitedly about their futures. She smiled softly to herself. She had tried her best this year. That was what mattered. At the front of the room stood Iruka-sensei, who always believed in every student, even when they struggled. One by one, he called names. Uzumaki, Naruko. She stood up straight and walked into the testing room. Her heart fluttered, but she kept her shoulders tall. She might not be perfect at every technique, but she never gave up. Iruka-sensei adjusted his headband and smiled at her kindly. Naruko, for the final part of your exam, please create 3 bunshine copies of yourself. Naruko scratched the back of her head and laughed lightly. Sensei, my copies sometimes come out a little wobbly. That's all right, he replied gently. Show me your best effort. Naruko closed her eyes and focused. She imagined herself standing proudly beneath a bright blue sky. She imagined courage in her heart, like a small golden flame that never went out. With determination, she formed the hand signs. 3 shimmering copies of Naruko appeared beside her. They flickered slightly at first, but then they steadied, smiling just like she did. Iruka's eyes widened in surprise. Excellent control. Naruko blinked. Really? He handed her a forehead protector engraved with the symbol of the leaf. Congratulations, Naruko. You passed. You worked hard on your written exams, and you showed wonderful teamwork during yesterday's practice exercise. You have grown so much. She held the headband carefully, as if it were made of glass. Thank you, Iruka-sensei. I won't let you down. When she returned to the classroom, Sasuke gave her a small nod of respect. Rin smiled warmly from her seat by the window. Iruka addressed them all. I am proud of each of you. In 1 week, you will be assigned to your teams. Remember, being a ninja is not about being the strongest alone. It is about protecting one another. Naruko listened closely. Those words stayed with her. That evening, Naruko sat on the roof of her apartment, gazing at the night sky. The stars seemed brighter now, as if celebrating with her. Rin climbed up beside her and sat quietly. It's beautiful tonight, Rin said softly. Naruko nodded. It feels like the sky is cheering for us. Rin studied her friend for a moment. You've changed this year. Naruko tilted her head. Changed how? You believe in yourself more. Naruko thought about that. For a long time, she had felt like she didn't quite fit in. Some students had misunderstood her boundless energy. But instead of letting that make her bitter, she had decided to become kinder and stronger. I just realized something, Naruko said. If I want people to see the best in me, I should try to see the best in them too. Rin smiled. That sounds like a future leader. They both laughed. Suddenly, distant voices echoed through the village. Shinobi hurried across rooftops, calling to one another. Something important was happening. Naruko stood up. We should check on things. Together, they leapt lightly from rooftop to rooftop, moving quickly but carefully. In the forest just beyond the village gates, they spotted Mizuki-sensei carrying a large scroll. Naruko felt a tug in her heart. Something was wrong. Mizuki-sensei? She called gently. He turned, startled. For a moment, his face showed worry rather than anger. I made a mistake, he admitted quietly. I let my frustration cloud my judgment. I thought this scroll would prove something. Naruko stepped closer, not in anger, but in concern. You don't have to prove anything by running away. Rin nodded. We can fix mistakes together. Mizuki looked at the two girls, surprised by their calm voices. The scroll slipped from his hands onto the grass. Naruko placed her hand over her heart. Everyone feels left behind sometimes. But hurting yourself or others won't make it better. For a long moment, the forest was silent except for the wind and the leaves. Then Mizuki lowered his head. I forgot what it meant to be part of the village. Naruko picked up the scroll carefully and handed it back. Then let's remember together. Soon, other ninja arrived, including Kakashi, who observed the scene with thoughtful eyes. No harm done, Kakashi said gently. What matters is that we learn from our choices. Mizuki agreed to return peacefully and speak honestly about his feelings. The situation ended not with anger, but with understanding. As the group walked back toward the village, Rin leaned toward Naruko. You could have reacted differently. Naruko smiled at the stars above. Maybe. But I want to become a ninja who brings light, not shadows. Rin's eyes shone. You already are. Naruko adjusted her new headband, feeling its weight, not heavy, but comforting. She realized that being a ninja was not just about techniques or exams. It was about courage, kindness, and believing that even when things feel uncertain, there is always a brighter path forward. And as she looked at her friends beside her, she knew she would never walk that path alone. Naruko opened her eyes and quickly squeezed them shut again as warm sunlight streamed through the tall hospital windows. The light felt bright and cheerful, almost like it was trying to tickle her awake. She blinked a few times before looking around the familiar white room. She had visited this place more than once after training mishaps or long days of helping around the village. She slowly pushed herself up on her elbows. Gentle hands rested on her shoulders and guided her back down. Don't sit up just yet, said a soft, steady voice. Naruko recognized Rin immediately. Rin's eyes were kind, and her smile was calm and reassuring. I'm fine, Naruko said, though her voice sounded a little scratchy. I know, Rin replied warmly. I just want to double check. Naruko stared at the ceiling for a moment, puzzled. Rin didn't have to stay. They hadn't known each other very long, and Naruko sometimes worried that people listened to unkind rumors about her. Yet here Rin was, making sure she was comfortable. Why are you helping me? Naruko asked quietly. Rin tilted her head. Because you're my friend. Friends look out for each other. The door slid open, and the Hokage stepped inside with a gentle smile. The sunlight seemed to follow him in. How are you feeling, Naruko? He asked kindly. Much better. She replied, sitting up a little more carefully this time. The Hokage placed a small bag beside her bed. You completed your first official mission yesterday. This is your payment. Naruko's eyes widened. Already? It hasn't even been a full day since I graduated from the academy. She opened the scroll inside the bag and read the neat writing. A grin stretched across her face. Her very first mission had been simple, helping recover a lost training scroll from the forest and guiding a confused traveler back to the village, but she had worked hard and done her best. The Hokage nodded proudly. You showed responsibility and courage. That matters more than anything. After he left, Naruko swung her legs carefully over the side of the bed. Can I get up now? She asked. Rin nodded, staying close just in case. Slowly. Naruko stood and stretched her arms. See? Totally fine. Rin studied her thoughtfully. Yesterday was overwhelming. You pushed yourself very hard. It's okay if you're still sorting through your feelings. Naruko hesitated. She wasn't used to talking about her feelings. She was used to proving herself instead. I guess. I wanted to show everyone I can be trusted, she admitted. Sometimes I feel like I have to try twice as hard. Rin smiled gently. Trying hard is wonderful. But you don't have to carry everything alone. Naruko thought about that as she pulled on her jacket. The bright orange fabric felt like sunshine wrapped around her shoulders. Did they say anything about the seal? Naruko asked more quietly. Rin nodded. The elders are still studying it. They said it's complicated, but they're hopeful. Things that take time aren't impossible. Naruko took a slow breath. Then I'll be patient. I'll grow stronger while they figure it out. That's the spirit, Rin said. Naruko tucked her mission payment safely into her pocket. Thanks for staying with me. Before she could step into the hallway, Rin grabbed her sleeve. Wait, Rin said. You promised we'd do something fun today. Naruko blinked. She had nearly forgotten in her excitement. Oh. Right, she laughed. I was thinking maybe we could visit the training grounds. Or the market. Or both. Rin crossed her arms playfully. Mark it first. You're paying. It's only fair since I stayed here making sure you didn't try to race out of bed too early. Naruko placed a hand over her heart dramatically. How could you doubt me? Rin raised an eyebrow. Naruko giggled. Okay, maybe you're right. They walked down the hallway together, their footsteps echoing softly. Outside, the village buzzed with friendly chatter, the scent of fresh bread drifting through the air. The sky was bright blue, wide and full of promise. As they stepped into the sunshine, Naruko felt something warm in her chest, not just determination, but gratitude. She still had much to learn. She still wanted to become someone the whole village could rely on. But for the first time, she realized she didn't have to do it alone. With Rin at her side and the village around her, Naruko smiled. Today wasn't just about missions or money. It was about friendship, courage, and discovering that even the brightest heroes shine because others believe in them too. Naruko sat at her desk in the academy between Rin and Sasuke, her chin resting in her palm as sunlight streamed through the windows. She had spent most of her break with Rin, and to her surprise, it had been wonderful. When Naruko suggested games or places to visit, Rin listened carefully. Somehow, though, Rin always managed to gently guide them toward what she wanted to do. She had even tried to convince Naruko to shop for new clothes. Naruko had laughed and said she liked her bright orange jacket just fine. Rin had smiled sweetly and changed the subject, but Naruko had a small feeling that one day she might walk out of a store carrying something new without quite knowing how it happened. She was still thinking about that when their teacher, Iruka, began calling out the new teams. Naruko's attention drifted as names were announced. She perked up the moment she heard her own. Team 7 will consist of Uzumaki Naruko, Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Nohura Rin. Your squad leader will be Hitake Kakashi. The classroom buzzed with confusion. 4 students? That was unusual. Naruko raised her hand without waiting to be called on. Iruka-sensei? Why does Team 7 have 4 members when everyone else has 3? A boy across the room snickered. To help Naruko keep up. A few students giggled, but Naruko simply smiled. She had heard jokes like that before. Instead of feeling upset, she reminded herself that she was still growing, still learning, and that everyone improved at their own pace. She would show them what she could do, not by arguing, but by trying her best. Iruka cleared his throat kindly. Team 7 has been arranged carefully. Each of you brings something unique to the team. You will learn from one another. Naruko liked that answer. Iruka continued calling the other teams, Team 8 with Hinata, Kiba, and Shino under Kurenai, Team 10 with Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji under Asuma. Finally, he set down his clipboard. Your squad leaders will arrive shortly. Please wait patiently. As Iruka left, Naruko turned to her teammates. Sakura crossed her arms. 4 people will make coordination harder. Sasuke gave a small nod. It will require balance. Rin smiled warmly. Or it could make us stronger. Naruko's bright blue eyes sparkled. Then let's make it the strongest team ever. If there are 4 of us, that just means 4 times the ideas, 4 times the courage, and 4 times the fun. Sakura hesitated, then gave a small smile. When you put it that way. The classroom door slid open quietly. A tall man with silver hair and a relaxed posture stepped inside. One eye curved into a friendly crescent as he waved. Good afternoon. I'm Kakashi, your squad leader. Why don't we start by getting to know each other? Naruko hopped to her feet eagerly. I'll go first. I'm Uzumaki Naruko, and one day I'm going to become the Hokage so everyone in the village feels proud and safe. I'm still learning, but I never give up. Kakashi's visible eye softened. That's a wonderful goal. One by one, the others introduced themselves. Sasuke spoke about honoring his family. Sakura shared her dream of becoming a skilled kunoichi known for her intelligence. Rin said she wanted to help others and keep her friends smiling. When it was Kakashi's turn, he scratched the back of his head. My likes and dislikes aren't very interesting. But I do enjoy seeing young shinobi discover their strengths. Naruko felt a warm flutter in her chest. Strength wasn't just about speed or skill. It was about heart. Kakashi led them outside to a grassy training field. Instead of giving them a difficult task, he placed 4 small bells on a wooden post. Your challenge, he explained gently, is not to grab the bells. It is to ring them together, at the same time. You'll need teamwork. Naruko blinked. At the same time? Sasuke examined the spacing. Sakura calculated distances in her head. Rin studied the rhythm of the breeze. They tried once. The bells chimed unevenly. They tried again. Still not perfect. Naruko paused, placing her hands on her hips. Wait. We're all trying to move at our own speed. What if we count together? Rin's eyes brightened. That's a great idea. Sakura nodded thoughtfully. If we synchronize our timing, it should work. Sasuke gave a small, approving glance. They formed a circle. 1, Naruko began. 2, they said together. 3. All four reached out at the exact same moment. The bells rang in one clear, beautiful chime that echoed across the field. Kakashi smiled. Excellent. You listen to one another. That is the foundation of any strong team. Naruko felt taller than ever. It wasn't about proving anyone wrong. It was about growing together. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, Team 7 walked back toward the village side by side. Naruko looked at her teammates and grinned. This was only the beginning. She didn't know what challenges awaited them, but she knew one thing for certain. With kindness, courage, and friends who believed in one another, she could face anything. And one day, she would become a Hokage who made the whole village proud, not because she was the strongest alone, but because she had learned the true strength of standing together. The classroom door slid open with a soft swish, and in stepped Kakashi Hatake. He lowered the small orange book he was holding and noticed 2 empty seats. Where did Rin and Naruko go? He asked calmly. Sasuke crossed his arms. Rin got tired of waiting and left. She pulled Naruko with her. So Rin's patience can run thin, Kakashi said thoughtfully, lifting his book again. I had planned for introductions, but since that would be rather difficult without everyone here, we'll do something different. Sakura sighed. What are we going to do? We're going to find your teammates, Kakashi replied with a cheerful nod. I understand finding Rin, Sakura said, frowning, but Naruko is practically useless. Kakashi gently closed his book. What makes you say that? Sakura shifted uneasily, especially when she noticed Sasuke glancing at her. She sleeps in class, she doesn't talk much, she doesn't spar, and her grades aren't very good. I don't even know why Rin spends time with her. Kakashi's expression softened, though his voice was firm. Sometimes the brightest light is hidden behind a cloud. Let's go find them, and afterward, we'll have a little lesson about understanding our teammates. Sasuke was already out the door. Sakura hurried after him. Dash. Meanwhile, outside near the market street, Naruko was being gently, but very determinedly, pulled by Rin. Please let me go. Naruko protested, trying to dig her sandals into the ground. I don't need new clothes. Rin tugged again, though Naruko barely moved an inch. Your sleeves are torn, and your jacket has more patches than fabric. You deserve something new. I like my jacket, Naruko insisted. Suddenly, Naruko flopped forward onto the pavement with a dramatic sigh. I'm not walking another step. Rin blinked. Are you pretending to be a sack of rice? Yes, Naruko replied cheerfully. A very stubborn sack of rice. Rin knelt beside her, trying not to laugh. If you agree to try on just one outfit, I'll teach you how to walk on water like you've been asking. Naruko peeked up at her. Really? Really? Naruko thought for a moment. And no frilly collars? Rin placed a hand over her heart. No frilly collars. Naruko sat up quickly. Deal. They both stood and dusted themselves off. A few villagers had paused to watch the strange scene, but most simply smiled at the 2 energetic academy students. As they stepped into the clothing store, Naruko's shoulders slumped dramatically. I don't see why clothes matter so much, she muttered. Rin picked up a neatly folded jacket in warm shades of orange and cream. Clothes don't make who you are. But sometimes, wearing something new can remind you that you're growing. Naruko tilted her head. Growing? You're not the same girl you were last year, Rin said kindly. You've been practicing every morning before class. You helped carry groceries for Mrs. Tanaka. You stayed after school to clean the training yard. You're changing. Naruko blinked. She hadn't thought anyone noticed those things. Rin smiled. You work hard, Naruko. Even if you pretend not to. A quiet warmth filled Naruko's chest. She took the jacket from Rin and slipped it on. It fit perfectly. Rin beamed. See? You look amazing. Naruko studied herself in the mirror. The jacket felt lighter than her old one, yet somehow stronger. She straightened her shoulders. Okay, Naruko admitted softly. Maybe I do feel a little different. That's because you are, Rin said. Just then, Sasuke and Sakura appeared at the shop entrance, slightly out of breath. Behind them, Kakashi strolled in casually. "There you are," Kakashi said. Sakura glanced at Naruko and paused. She had expected to find her napping somewhere or causing trouble. Instead, Naruko stood calmly, looking thoughtful. "We were worried," Sakura said, though her voice was quieter than before. Naruko scratched the back of her head. "Sorry. I got distracted." "With jackets?" Sasuke added dryly. Kakashi clapped his hands once. "Since we're all here, let's try something. We're heading to the training field, not for sparring, but for teamwork exercises." At the field, Kakashi handed them a simple challenge. "There are stepping stones across the pond," he explained. "Your task is to cross together without anyone stepping into the water." Naruko's eyes lit up. "Water practice." Rin grinned. "Exactly." Sakura hesitated at the edge. "What if we fall?" "Then you help each other back up," Kakashi replied. They began carefully. Sasuke studied the spacing of the stones. Sakura calculated the safest order. Rin guided Naruko on how to focus her chakra gently beneath her feet. Naruko wobbled at first, nearly tipping sideways, but Sakura grabbed her sleeve. "Careful," Sakura said quickly. Naruko blinked in surprise. "Thanks." They moved as a group, talking and adjusting. When Sasuke nearly misjudged a step, Naruko steadied him with a quick hand. After several attempts, and quite a bit of laughter, they reached the other side together. Kakashi smiled behind his mask. "What did you learn?" Sakura looked at Naruko. "I learned. Maybe I don't know everything about my teammates." Naruko shifted shyly. "I learned that I don't have to do everything alone." Rin gave her a small nudge. "And?" Naruko grinned. "And that new jackets are kind of awesome." Everyone laughed. As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in soft gold, Naruko stood at the pond's edge. The water reflected her new jacket and her determined eyes. She wasn't the loudest student. She wasn't the top of the class. But she was trying. And she had friends beside her. For the first time in a long while, Naruko felt certain of something simple and powerful. She was growing, not just as a ninja, but as a person. And tomorrow, she would try again, with courage in her heart and her team at her side. The afternoon sun shimmered across the wide training field, turning the pond into a sheet of sparkling silver. Sasuke paused when he heard a loud splash followed by a groan of frustration. He had been searching for his teammates for quite some time, and even though he tried to stay calm, he was starting to worry. He followed the sound of laughter to a clearing, and there she was. Naruko. She was standing on top of the pond, wobbling slightly, her reflection rippling beneath her sandals. Several identical Narukos stood beside her, each trying to balance just the same. Rin stood near the edge of the water, clapping and laughing in delight. Sasuke blinked. "When did she learn that?" he murmured. Kakashi landed quietly beside him, his book open as always. Sakura stood just behind them, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I found them," Sasuke said. "Excellent observation," Kakashi replied cheerfully without looking up. "It seems they're making progress." Sakura folded her arms, though a small smile tugged at her lips. She could not deny that Naruko looked determined. Naruko wobbled again but steadied herself. She focused on the gentle hum of energy inside her, imagining it spreading evenly beneath her feet. The water stopped splashing. She was doing it. Rin beamed. "That's it. Keep your breathing calm." Naruko grinned widely. "I'm getting it, Rin. I'm really getting it." Shopping earlier had been unexpected. Rin had insisted Naruko try something new. Instead of her usual bright orange outfit, Naruko now wore a blue sleeveless hoodie with a white shirt underneath and blue pants. She had felt shy at first, but Rin had told her she looked strong and bright, like the sky on a clear day. Training with Rin did not feel like a chore. It felt like spending time with someone who truly saw her. Naruko created more shadow clones, each one practicing balance. When she finally dismissed them all at once, she staggered. "Oh," she gasped as all their memories rushed back at the same time. She tipped sideways and splashed into the pond. Rin quickly helped her out, both of them laughing. "I got too excited," Naruko admitted sheepishly. "That means you care," Rin said warmly. "And you did amazing." Naruko's cheeks flushed. Praise was still something she was learning how to accept. She looked down shyly but smiled. Suddenly, The water clinging to her clothes shimmered and lifted away in tiny droplets, drifting back into the pond as if guided by an invisible breeze. Rin stared. Naruko. You didn't even move. Naruko tilted her head. Oh. That? Sometimes the elements listen to me. I don't always know how. If I'm really focused, or really emotional, they sort of respond. She held out her hand, and a small swirl of wind danced playfully around her fingers before fading. It feels like the world is talking back, she added softly. I'm still figuring it out. Before Rin could reply, Kakashi stepped into the clearing. Well, he said brightly, closing his book. Since everyone is here, let's begin your team challenge. Sasuke and Sakura joined them. What challenge? Sakura asked. Kakashi held up two small bells tied to red strings. They jingled softly in the breeze. Your task is simple. Work together to earn these bells before sunset. Naruko crossed her arms. Only 2 bells for 4 of us? Kakashi's visible eye curved into a smile. Precisely. Sasuke frowned slightly. So someone will be left out. Unless, Rin said thoughtfully, we don't let that happen. Naruko looked at her teammates. Instead of rushing off alone, she felt something different stirring inside her, a desire to try something new. Let's not compete, Naruko said firmly. Let's cooperate. Sakura blinked. You mean, actually plan together? Naruko nodded. If this is about teamwork, then splitting up won't help. Kakashi leaned casually against a tree, pretending not to listen too closely. The 4 of them formed a small circle. Sasuke spoke first. Naruko's control over the elements can create distractions. Sakura added, I can observe and call out timing. Rin smiled. I'll support whoever needs it. Naruko looked around at them, her heart feeling warmer than the afternoon sun. Then let's do this as a team. Dash. What followed was not chaos, but coordination. Naruko gently stirred the pond's surface, creating shimmering reflections that made it hard to tell where anyone stood. Sasuke used careful movements to approach from one side, while Sakura provided precise directions. Rin encouraged them, adjusting their positions with calm guidance. Every time Kakashi tried to outmaneuver one of them, another teammate stepped in, not to overpower him, but to support each other. Finally, in one perfectly timed moment, Naruko used a soft gust of wind to nudge the bells just enough for Sakura and Sasuke to grab them at the same time. The bells jingled triumphantly. Kakashi lowered his book slowly. Well, he said, that was unexpected. Naruko stepped forward. We don't want anyone left behind. Rin nodded. If one of us succeeds, we all succeed. Sakura and Sasuke exchanged a glance, then quietly agreed. Kakashi studied them for a long moment before smiling fully. Congratulations. You pass. Naruko blinked. All of us? All of you, he confirmed. Because you understood the true lesson. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, Naruko felt something she had not felt before. Belonging. She looked at her teammates, Sasuke with his steady determination, Sakura with her careful thinking, Rin with her endless kindness, and felt grateful. She still had much to learn about her mysterious connection to the elements. She still stumbled, still doubted herself at times. But she was no longer alone. And as a gentle breeze swirled playfully around her, Naruko smiled. She was discovering that true strength was not about standing above others. It was about standing together. Naruko leaned back against the wide trunk of an old oak tree, breathing slowly as dappled sunlight shimmered through the leaves. Her wrists throbbed from the earlier training mishap, but she kept her chin high. Rin knelt beside her and gently cradled Naruko's injured hand. You almost got one, she said softly. Naruko rested her head against the bark and stared up at the sky. I can't believe she actually twisted my wrist that hard, she muttered, though there was no anger in her voice, only surprise. Well, Rin said as her palms began to glow with a gentle green light, you did try to surprise her. Why did you rush in like that? Naruko winced as warmth flowed into her bones. I thought if she got flustered, she might make a mistake. I guess I was wrong. She gave a small, sheepish smile. Maybe I was the one who got flustered instead. Rin's glow softened the swelling, and soon the ache faded. You've always been bold, Rin said. But boldness works best with teamwork. Naruko thought about that. Earlier, she had followed their teacher to the quiet memorial stone near the edge of the training grounds. She had been curious about why their teacher sometimes stood there alone. I heard her talking about a former teammate, Naruko said quietly. Someone named Obito. She sounded sad. Rin's hands paused. Obito, she whispered. She brushed at her eyes, then steadied herself. She must miss him very much. Naruko nodded. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. She had always told herself to stay strong and not dwell on sad things. But seeing Rin's tears made her realize that being strong also meant caring about others' feelings. Maybe, Naruko said gently, remembering someone is a way of keeping them close. And maybe we can honor them by doing our best. Rin smiled, squeezing Naruko's hand. You're right. Naruko grinned. Of course I am. Now, about those bells. Rin stood and pulled Naruko up with her. The test isn't really about the bells, she explained. It's about working together. The bells just distract us. Naruko scratched her head. So we've been chasing a shiny distraction this whole time? Pretty much. Naruko laughed. Then let's stop chasing and start cooperating. Across the clearing, Sasuke was rubbing his bruised leg while Sakura adjusted the ribbon in her hair. You were supposed to distract her, Sasuke said, trying not to sound grumpy. I did distract her, Sakura replied. Just not in the way you expected. Naruko and Rin joined them. New plan, Naruko announced. We move as one. No rushing ahead alone. No trying to prove anything. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. That's new. People can grow, Naruko replied brightly. I'm trying it out. When their teacher returned to the center of the field, her single visible eye curved in amusement above her mask. Ready for another round? She asked. This time, Naruko didn't charge ahead. She glanced at her teammates, and they nodded. Rin moved first, creating a gentle diversion. Sakura followed, carefully coordinating her steps. Sasuke timed his movement precisely. Naruko waited, really waited, until the perfect moment. Then she dashed in, not to grab a bell alone, but to create an opening for everyone. The clearing filled with quick footsteps and swirling leaves. No one aimed to hurt, they aimed to outsmart. Their teacher dodged and laughed, clearly impressed. At one point, Naruko noticed a bell swing close to her. Instead of lunging, she called out, now. Sasuke flicked a small tool that nudged the bell's string loose. Sakura caught it midair. Rin helped shield them as they regrouped. When the dust settled, Sakura held up the bell in surprise. Their teacher clapped her hands. That's enough. You pass. Really? Sakura asked, eyes shining. Really, their teacher confirmed. The goal was to see if you could trust one another. Today, you did. Naruko beamed at her teammates. She felt warmer than any healing glow. As the others prepared to leave, their teacher gestured for Naruko to stay behind. Naruko's smile dimmed slightly. Am I in trouble? Not at all, her teacher replied. In fact, I have a special task for you. Naruko tilted her head. You won't be assigned to one single team right away. The Hokage believes you have a special ability to bring different people together. You'll rotate between teams and help them learn cooperation. Naruko blinked. So, I get to make more friends? That's the idea. For a moment, Naruko thought about the lonely days of her childhood, when whispers followed her and doors sometimes closed. She had once believed she didn't need anyone. But today had shown her something different. I'll do it, she said firmly. If I can help everyone work together, then I want to try. Her teacher's eye softened. That's a brave choice. Naruko placed her hands on her hips and grinned at the setting sun. Believe it. I'm going to be someone who connects the whole village. And one day, I'll become Hokage, not just because I'm strong, but because I care. As she walked home, she realized something important. Strength wasn't about winning alone. It was about lifting others up, listening to their stories, and growing together. And for the first time, Naruko felt that she wasn't just chasing a bell. She was discovering who she truly wanted to be. Dear YouTube family. This is all for now, but it's never really goodbye. Every video, every comment, every like, and every share reminds me why I started this journey in the first place. What began as a simple passion has grown into a community, and that means more to me than I can fully express in words. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly makes a difference. It helps the channel grow, reach more amazing people like you, and keeps the motivation alive to create even better content in the future. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thank you for spending your valuable time here. Thank you for being part of this growing family. And most importantly, thank you for supporting Six Path Weeb. Until the next video, stay inspired, Stay passionate, and keep the spirit alive. Regards. 6 Path Weeb.